First of all, of course, he'll fall down before Antichrist.
How do you see the Orthodox presence in America, which has more or less produced the World Council of Churches, in a way, as we see it today? How are we to take these apocalyptic terms in that way?
What is the apocalyptic significance of Orthodoxy in America, or what?
Yes.
Well, I don't think there's anything more significant about America than perhaps any other country like Uganda. But I think it's definitely significant that people are waking up to it. People who have never had no relationship by blood to Orthodoxy, simply because they heard the word preached, begin to wake up to see it, and especially in a country which is totally Christianized, supposedly, and they wake up and see that all that is called Christianity is not really Christianity, and they want Orthodoxy. That's could very well be one of the signs of the end, yes. In fact, I think that, of course, there are different kinds of ends. When a country comes to its end, it's like before communism came to Russia, there was a great spiritual revival actually going on. Great saints, St. John of Conscience, many elders of Upton, and many holy monks and bishops living at that time. And many people were very fervent, but this whole society was sort of against it. It became so westernized, so sort of anti-Christian almost, that was finally submerged. But if you look at it from the point of view of a spiritual revival, there definitely was a spiritual revival going on. And therefore, the more you see that kind of thing happening here, you begin to wonder whether it's not coming to the end of something for us too. And of course, that's where we're bound up at the end of everything. Because things right now seem to be stepping up their tempo. Both things in Russia, things in America, the whole world situation. That it looks as though we're heading for some momentous events quite close in the future. And of course, we shouldn't get carried away by historical events. Basically, Christianity is to save your soul. And therefore, each person finds out about the truth and starts right here and now starting to live the life according to the Church's commandments. Therefore, that's the first thing we should always have in mind. And if somebody next to you also finds out about it, somebody on the street, and then there's a whole group of people, that's all that better helps you out to struggle more yourself. But I think you're right also that it's not that much different as far as the end result. That Gulag and whatever happened in Russia, the aim was to destroy Christianity, and to a large extent it succeeded. Because it's with great difficulty that people find out about Christianity now. And in the West, all this indifference, tolerance, and freedom, prosperity, all that also helps to destroy any kind of strong Christianity. And the end result, what Solzhenitsyn says, that in the East they become stronger. After communism, they become stronger than we in the West who had all this freedom. But we shouldn't be satisfied being weaker. We should offer to God our struggle.
Is there any other references made to the government using a stamp on the hand or on the forehead to be able to purchase food or the things that you need, or do you think that would go along with the coming of the one world government?
It's been done. In 1812, when Napoleon invaded Russia, and they came back and there was no food, everyone was stamped on either the wrist or the top of the wrist with a number. Without the number, they couldn't get any food. And Hitler also did something like that. I think it wasn't the number, I think it was some kind of a sign, which, unless you had at a certain time or place, he was ruling. So that idea has already been practiced. It's a natural thing. How else, if you haven't got paper that's short, or you have not a great identification, you either have to mark a person on the forehead or the hand or something like that.
Is there a reference made to that in Revelations about that would happen in the end of time?
Yes, that's the number of the beast. That is the number 666, which you're not supposed to inquire into very much. It is at least a futile speculations. Although 6 is the number of Earth, you can say, completed the 6 days of creation. There's a whole number of earthly values that amounts to 666, you might say. But undoubtedly refers to a certain person. When the time comes, we'll see what it means. But that number is supposed to be, the number of the beast is supposed to be given on the right hand and the forehead.
The prophet before him to announce his coming to the far world.
Yes, there's 3 beasts mentioned in the Apocalypse. There's the one is the devil, one is the human being, who's Antichrist, and one is the false prophet. We'll be preparing people's preparing them to worship the beast. Sort of a natural thing that there should be someone to help them out, to make sure they know who the beast is. That's Christ coming in, bow down to him. And undoubtedly he'll be 33 years old, or 30 years old when he comes to reign and everything else.
Father, could you please address the whole topic of the rapture?
Yes, well, it's a very basic, it's a simple mistake. The rapture is mentioned by St. Paul. Is it in where the book is mentioned? Second Thessalonians, is it for us?
It's the word, some recent apocalyptic writers of evangelical sects translate the word apostasia in Greek into rapture in English because it means a departure from. And so this is where a lot of this...
Well, there is a place where the believers will be caught up in the clouds.
Oh, okay.
And they take that as being the rapture. Well, it's true. The believers will be caught up in the clouds at the end of the world when Christ comes. But that isn't. But they develop. It's like the idea of the millennium. They take that and then develop it into a whole separate teaching, which is in conflict with the rest of the Scripture. But that simply means when Christ comes in the clouds with the sign of the cross, and the world begins to end, as St. Peter says, the world begins to go up in flames, and those who are still alive will begin to be caught up from the clouds. The dead will rise from the tombs, and that's the rapture. But the Protestants say they're going to stand there or sit there in the clouds and watch all the suffering going on the earth for an indefinite amount of time. There's nothing they can base it on. And it only appeared in their writings 1840, I think.
So the false idea is that you'll be spared from all the tribulation.
Yes, in fact, that's an anti-scriptural idea. Because it says if the temptation is so great, even the elect, if the times are not cut short, even the elect would be lost, deceived. But the elect must be right there, suffering with the rest. But in Daniel, it's very interesting because in Daniel, there are two aspects. One is the prophecy about the end of the world, and the second is the prophecy about the coming of the tyrant, Antiochus Epiphanes, who actually did that. He went to the temple and had himself proclaimed God, and everyone bowed down to him in the year, early 3rd century BC, I think. And so we have already an image of an historical event which already prefigures this.
Could you tie in a few of the ideas of monastic life with the apocalyptic vision?
Well, on the most simple level, a monk is one who's supposed to be expecting death, expecting the end. Therefore, he takes seriously all the words about behold, I come quickly, and try to prepare themselves and be in such a state that when Christ comes, you're ready. In that sense, monasticism is apocalyptic. And I think more and more general could be developed. But of course, everybody's supposed to be like that if you're a Christian. You shouldn't sort of think that only the monks are responsible for living Christian life. It's not true. Monks are just like anybody else. Once a person wakes up, you look at the early church, there's no distinction who's monk or layman or what. They all recognized the truth of the gospel, and they saw that it's quite urgent. You better start living it.
Could this orthodox jurisdictional separation in this country be in a sense, a form of chastisement for the West? Or is it another way to look at it? Is it a sign of evil, or could it be, in the end, used to better ourselves? How is one to start to look at that, this jurisdictional situation?
Oh, there's several points of view. I think one, you can say, it's a large part of it is owing to human weaknesses. Another part, I think, is owing to the fact that this movement of apostasy is so strong in the world that it's very easy for people in position of authority in the church to go along. In fact, the higher you get and the bigger your organization, the easier it is to go along with the times. And therefore, if the jurisdictions aren't getting along quite so well, perhaps one or two of them might be able to stay behind the rest. I think that's what's happening now between our Russian church abroad and most of the jurisdictions that we sort of left behind. There's a whole lots of reasons why we're separate. Not entirely separate, but sort of cool on the official level. And this, in a way, preserves us. And the fact that we're preserved now enables people outside to look back and see, aha, there is still some kind of standard of orthodoxy, and what some of our leaders are doing isn't sort of the proper way, and it helps out. What the end result of it from that, I don't know, but I think it makes more people aware that there's not just one big orthodox